Never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
The needs of working families in the middle class, not just the billionaire class. We know what's going on. We are paying attention.
But is it really? Or is it just the end of us? I see you guys talking about that. Happy Saturday. Talking about the end of civilization. I tried to bring humor and levity to the situation with goats in the suburbs, and you guys are talking about the end of civilization like it's pertinent. Thanks.
Well, it is Saturday, you know.
Right.
That's when we all get depressed together and work through it.
Aren't we supposed to be more jovial today? I don't know. How are you guys?
About what, darling?
Yeah. Well, good morning, everybody. The goats tried to exit us. Oh my gosh. In 1,000 years from now, it'll be for 40 days and 40 nights. The goats wandered the suburbs of Boise.
Crack me. I was telling John in Green Room that I just recently met someone who owns a herd of goats here in the Santa Cruz area and hires them out to schools and anywhere that's got a bunch of wild land that needs clearing. And they eat freaking everything. The blackberries, poison oak, the weeds, everything down to like corduroy. It's like smooth.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So you can imagine if they get loose in something in a very tasty, you know, neighborhood environment, they probably just denuded the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they were eating everything in sight.
It is. I have video footage of it. Before we get to that, and yeah, if you want to know, really want to get cute and cozy with a goat and really live that full life cycle completely till its end, go watch Cold Mountain, and then see how you feel about goats. But good morning, everybody. One of the most depressing fucking movies in the history.
That was a depressing book. I couldn't even make it through the movie.
It's just a little too realistic about the Civil War, everybody.
Yeah.
Too realistic.
Yeah.
Good morning, Dan Shepard. Greetings from Ireland.
Can they eat politicians?
That is better than the bus idea.
Eat the rich.
I love it. Somebody needs to tag the Boise goat thing with "Eat the Rich" because that's beautiful. and then we'll just keep the goats for goat cheese and stuff and eat them later, and it'll be like eating the rich, only much more valuable that way.
Ew.
I love that. That's a great idea. That's Oz. That's beautiful.
Yeah. I like Bernie's hat. Are you protecting Bernie from the sun? How kind.
Bernie works on my farm. You guys didn't know that, right? It's harvest time, and you know, Bernie helps me out. We got a lot of fruit to pick. He comes by. He likes it. He doesn't want anybody to know. We hang out.
He's been there almost a year because we got him for the eclipse last August, and it's August
Won't
again.
tell anybody. No, just kidding. It has been about a year. It's the eclipse,
August 21st last year.
Was it the 21st? The 21st we had the eclipse.
Yeah.
Some of the best footage we ever did, and we can't show it anywhere right now. But good morning. I didn't mean just to say hi to Dan. Jay, how you doing? And Blago, how you doing? Dennis is right there on cameras with us and chatting. And Schultze, Louise, good to see you.
Dan from Ireland.
Yeah.
Greetings, Dan.
Is
it hot in Ireland too? Tell us how hot it is. It's hot everywhere.
Yeah.
Over there.
We had yesterday 115 Fahrenheit here.
Yeah.
In Germany.
115. Wow. So that's more than 40 degrees Celsius. You were at 40 degrees last week, and you were higher than that. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. And in my room, I had around 60 degrees Celsius. I don't know what it's exactly in Fahrenheit.
Jeez.
But, yeah.
I have a client in Copenhagen who they just don't know what to do because not only is it hot and dry, it's dry, and
and bigger problem is with our farmers. They don't know how to It's all is going dry.
Yeah.
They can, put it all in the trash. No. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. And this is, so every region of the earth is experiencing their own problems with climate change. It's affecting more places more extremely now. I think we can say that, right? We're getting things that nobody expected. We'll talk about that in a minute. That's fire nados. We have fire nados here in California, the car fire. It's climate change, and our mainstream media still hasn't addressed it. They're, the Weather Channel mentions it occasionally. I heard ABC the other day. All they said was, well, we have one scientist who thinks he knows what's going on. He thinks it's climate change. I mean, how? It's really like it's a puppy story, like it's a joke, right? What silly scientist thinks it's climate change.
We need to get that guy who is on the newsroom and talks climate change to Jeff Daniels. I wish you could play that segment again. We should play that regularly because that was just so classic.
There's a reason why we can't play that clip.
I know.
Well, even here in Europe, the media doesn't cover it like it is a global warming thing.
Even
They
here?
say, oh, we have some heat waves here, we have some death there, but not really come to the conclusion that it's a global warming.
Yeah.
MSM is fucking up all around the world. My impression, my personal. So, yeah.
Dan Shepard, we probably had record-breaking temperatures this year again. 30 years of Rush Limbaugh. Daniel says, 30 years of Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity frying brain cells via AM radio. Ouch. Yeah, to listen to them via AM. That's terrible. So it's bad, everybody. We'll talk about some of that. But first, goats. This was goats in Boise. And that's from Ruth Brown News. 100 goats were released somehow. I don't know how they got out. Like you said, they were mounting an exodus, and they tore through the town and ate a lot of stuff. That's a lot of goats. A lot of goats do a lot of damage. Here, it says breaking. About 100 goats are on the loose right now. This guy, Joe Paris, is going to keep us up with updates on goats. Goats in Boise. Glad of that. I just wanted to show you this. This was last week's slide that Marcus had prepared. Everybody remember this happening? When Trump made some big-ass threat on Twitter to the Iranian president, everybody went, oh, fuck. It's like old news. he's done so much more than that since then. It's like big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, today was it last night? He said one of his most blatantly racist statements ever against LeBron James, Don Lemon, and it's just even the MSM press doesn't know quite how to address it anymore. They're just out of words. It's and I just want to say this: America is trending and has been trending for days and days. Like the country of America is just trending on Twitter globally because everybody's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Hello, we're looking pretty bad. How scared are you? Anyone? Laura, are you frightened of the climate problems down there? Are you worried it's going to come near you?
Yeah, I live in a redwood forest with grasslands around. What happened in Carr, what happened up in Santa Rosa last fall could happen in a second in my neighborhood. So yeah, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah. And Germany is just on. They haven't caught fire yet completely, but they're hot enough to do so. You're drying out right now, so that'll come.
Yeah.
You totally reminded me of something I forgot about, and now I can't remember. What did you just mention? Another horrible thing that happened. Jesus.
Yeah, in Greece.
The Greek fire.
Fire and
another one.
Not even climate related, just something that had happened recently with we have actual stories to talk about. I don't want to. I told you I didn't want to get into the news because the news is just
ridiculous.
It's
the mainstream news is ridiculous right now.
Yeah,
and has been for a very long time.
Yes, and my question to mainstream media is: how long are you going to go? How long is it going to take your own buildings flooding and on fire? You'd be like, still not climate change. Nope, it has nothing to do with it. It's just seasonal, everybody. And how long are we are Pompeii staring at Vesuvius, just going, good coffee. Right? But we could actually do something about it. What did I have to talk about? Here, this is a scary picture. That's the car fire from a plane.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
Here.
So this is the one that's burning in Redding in Northern California, for those of you who don't follow along.
Yeah, can you see that? That was just somebody from a plane. That's just...
That fire was insane.
Whoa.
Still, it's not out.
Yeah. Is insane. But it was insane when it had its big firestorm thing. Are you going to...
Yeah, I'm going to show the fire NATO. I watch the Weather Channel all the time because it's actually the best stuff going. It's exciting. And I got to find a fire NATO. Yeah. This is they report on stuff and they put the science behind it. So they sensationalize it in that sense, and they have their fun with that. Deadly storms, which they are deadly now. People actually die from these. I'm going to show you a video of a fire NATO. This is not special effect. This is on the ground happening here.
Water, there's another water tender on Powerhouse and 299. Proceed forward.
Wow. Yeah, wow.
I mean, that's a tornado made of fire. And the Weather Service, I'll show you this because I was waiting for them to report on it because I was like, that's crazy. And they were watching the footage. And I was waiting for the weather guy to go, I wonder whether the National Weather Service is actually going to rate that as a tornado. Yes, they did. So intense, this is what the weather guy said. This storm was so intense that it created its own, this fire. It wasn't a storm. This was a fire. This started as a fire that the winds were so intense that it created its own supercell thunderstorm, which created an EF3 tornado out of fire. That was picking up shit and throwing shit all over the place. I just want to point out to Jerry Brown and everybody in the fossil fuel industry out there in California and everybody that doesn't think we need to move faster in climate in California that this is going to get worse. This isn't going to get better. Those EF3s are going to become normal. This is going to get worse year after year, and we're just going to die. That's where we're at. Whether it's fire or flood, because the other side of the United States is basically going underwater right now. And boy, I wish it would really affect the D.C. area most. I don't know how bad Washington, D.C. is getting it, but I want to see Mar-a-Lago sink, and I want to see the whole of D.C. just go into a fucking sinkhole. It's done. Right?
DC has been super hot this summer. I have clients there, and they've had over 100-degree days.
You can't tell me they're having like a tourist summer out there. They're getting battered by rains and winds and heat. And it's got to have destroyed the tourist season for the East Coast. And Florida with dead fish everywhere because of the algae
Oh,
blooms.
I know. Ew. I saw that. The bloated manatees. It's disgusting.
No, and EF3 is half the strongest tornado you can get. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Jerry Fracking Brown doesn't care. I know Jerry Brown doesn't care. There's Florida is experiencing a complete ecological disaster right now. The West Coast is on fire. The East Coast is underwater. The middle is just all sorts of fucked because that's where the streams meet. Right?
Europe is fried.
Flooded also.
And flooded.
Oh, yeah. Flooded. Oh, nice.
Because Europe's big. There's a lot of places, stuff going on. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, nothing to see here. Just the extinction of a species that's really dumb. That's all. Such potential. Such potential we had as a species.
Yeah.
You should be scared of the fires, Schultz. I'm scared, and I don't even have one near me yet. We're surrounded by them. I've got the coast to run to if I can get there, but there's a mountain range, and if that mountain range catches fire, I'm just going to sit here in the middle of the fire. Hey, Barbara. How you doing? Hey, Trisha. Washington, D.C. is flooded. Good. Mar-a-Lago has the toxic algae. That's true. So, yay. Yay, silver lining. Oh, hang on. Sorry about that. Stop that.
Daniel says millennials give me hope. Yeah, I've talked to my millennial son, and he and his girlfriend have already talked about, like, if they get married, it's like, we're not bringing another child. We'll adopt a child that needs us, but we're not bringing another child into this world right now.
I'm at the same point.
Are you? Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have friends that are just like, or younger friends that are like, I will not bring a kid in this world because God help them, right?
My best buddy, he was talking about, and his wife, but it happened. They have now a son, and when we first saw him, we discussed about everything and said, this world is fucked up. What did we do to this child? And blah, yeah. But yeah, let's get through this.
You guys,
What a happy day.
Yeah, you guys are posting such wonderful stuff. Schultze, right now, climatologists are expecting a third of the planet will soon be uninhabitable. Sounds about right. And Blogos says, I'm watching the 6th Great Mass Extinction from the 6th Great Lake, which is just one of those things, I guess. Enjoy. I'm watching it from one of the places that seems to be affected the least so far. So we'll see.
Same
what
here.
happens.
Yeah, I'm in a benign coastal climate, and we still get our cool fog, and things are okay. That'll change.
Melissa H. People have been saying that since the 60s, Vietnam, pollution, world hunger. We didn't have firenadoes in the 60s. We didn't have the actual effects of climate change pounding the crap out of Earth in the 60s. We had people that recognized what was going to happen. But you go back to the weather in the 60s, and you don't need to be a goddamn scientist. The jet stream used to look like this, folks. Maybe a little dip there in the middle, just a little bit, you know. Sometimes it'd have a little bump here and there, and the weather guy would be like, yep, there's the jet stream doing its thing with a little bump, and looks like there'll be some thunderstorms. Summers used to be summers. Winters used to be winters. Fire season used to last a specific amount of time. Okay, all this has changed, changed dramatically, but you don't see them compare. They're just like, well, compared to averages, we're way above average. We've been way above average for years now. We've started a new cycle. So, you know, it's... And
somebody will point to, well, the hottest day they had was back in the 50s. Yeah, man, like maybe one day, one unusual day, not weeks and weeks. Yeah, it's a different thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just climate; it's everything that's you know impacted. Firenadoes are a real thing that Jerry Brown tries to normalize. Yes, I know. That's their attitude about it, right? Is to, well, we need to be prepared for this stuff. Let's not think about how it started. Let's just be prepared for this in the future, right?
Plago, I knew someone would mention Sharknadoes eventually,
which do exist.
Yeah,
that can happen, but not because a cyclone in the water created its own supercell, and I mean it's different, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cyclone hit the water, sharks in the water. It's like, yeah.
And sharks are like having a bad day, depending on where they get dropped.
Yeah.
Right.
The next big thing will be drinking water.
Oh, it's already a thing. Flint does not have clean water. 60 million people in America are drinking contaminated water. At least 60 million people at least are drinking contaminated water in the United States of America.
Okay, I'm muted then.
60 million people. And you know, Portland is not, I mean, we had a problem in Salem with algae. It's, you know, a warmer, wetter world.
There's areas in the East Bay of California, Oakland areas, I think, that I heard that are actually worse than Flint.
Yeah. That does.
But there are poor neighborhoods that don't get a lot of attention. So
I know. And Nico, that's the problem. It's like, we can't afford another day with Trump on this planet. We can't afford another day with the Congress that we have that doesn't give a shit and is just robbing us blind. They're running away with the, you know, the let them eat cake. They are definitely on that path. And we don't have any recourse. It's either we go this really slow, tedious, annoying democracy route, or we take to the streets. And it'll be interesting to see how close we get, because I think taking to the streets is going to happen. I don't think we're going to be able to turn this ship around fast enough. There's too many poor. There's too many angry. Too many people that are pissed. And I don't think we're going to make it. But that's just me. That doesn't mean I'm not going to stop trying. I just think, Congress has let this go too far. The corruption is too deep. And there's some big things that need to happen. Thank you, Oz, for that $10. Here's $10. John, prepare yourself. Go buy a 12-pack of mineral water. All right.
LaCroix comes in a 12-pack.
12-pack of joints. I get this.
Yeah, you could buy a couple 12-packs for $10 of LaCroix.
There you go. That's true. I don't know if it really was facing with the end of the world, I'd probably crack a beer. Why not? I mean, like tomorrow.
Yeah, well,
tomorrow.
Yeah. Really? Yeah. If the world was ending, what would you do?
Right.
Right.
But let's just forget all about the climate for right now, because we can do that, compartmentalize and move on. Vesuvius is over there, but we're going to turn around and go have breakfast. Let's talk about brunch. It's brunch. Yeah, it's the brunch SUV latte resistance group. Laura Live and Good, please talk about what's coming up on things before I forget, and then we'll go into other stuff.
Do you want to talk about next week's primary?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay, go down to slide 44.
44. Bam. There are things happening.
That's kind of our match. So this week, in fact, 2 days ago, there was a Tennessee primary, and we do know Mark Whitmire, but because he's an independent, he was not on the ballot for the primary.
Of course.
So you know what he was doing? He flew to Washington to help Sarah Smith campaign.
That's awesome.
I like that. I really like the way that, especially the brand new Congress and Justice Dems teams are really supporting each other. That's what I hoped to see. So the big, of course, for us with our Western Wall focus, the big deal is on Tuesday is Washington. We have 4 We the People alums who are going to be finding out whether they are moving to the general that day. Sarah Smith, Washington District 9, Dorothy Gasquet in the District 3, Tyler Vega in District 6, and Tamborine Borelli in District 10. And Sarah Smith, I think I've got a video of her. She's really getting a lot of attention these days as the possible next Alex Ocasio upset. So, and of course is getting all the same, press, good and bad, about that, saying that she's young and naive and doesn't know what she's doing. And they had her on Fox News this week and did their typical snarky question, and she schooled them well. So I think let's play that.
Let's try.
Sarah Smith. You're brave, Sarah. Good evening to you. We've been trying to get Ocasio-Cortez on the air for months now, and we're getting crickets. So thank you for being here, all right? I've got the list. Free health care and free college and open borders. How much does that cost?
Open borders. So right now, people talk a lot about cost when it comes to these kinds of things, Bill. So they talk a lot about cost for a single-payer healthcare system. The system we have now costs taxpayers $47 trillion.
$47 trillion.
And a single-payer system, and a single-payer system would wind up changing that cost. It would reduce that cost to $33 trillion.
So you're
that's
actually
a figure that's widely quoted.
Yeah, you're saving us money then, is that right?
Single-payer systems save money. They allow better bargaining power. They reduce administrative costs in hospitals. They really save the taxpayers a lot of money. And then, with things like debt-free education, we talk a lot. During the presidential election of 2016, Bernie Sanders, former presidential candidate, talked a lot about a speculative Wall Street tax. And what that is it's 0.2% off of every dollar that's traded on Wall Street. And what that generates every single year is it's projected that's going to generate yearly $370 billion. And the cost, if we earmark that specifically for education every year for college only costs about $75 billion.
Just give me a chance to get in here just a little bit here, okay? Just give me a chance here. I don't know where you get the $47 trillion figure, but I'll look that up, okay? Because I haven't seen that before. But you saw this study yesterday, right? That came out $32 trillion for free Medicare over 10 years. Do you know where you get that money? You only get it from raising taxes. And you're either going to tax the businesses, and I know you've worked hard in your life climbing the ladder in different jobs, but when the businesses get taxed, they take it out on their employees, or they pass it to the consumer. So ultimately, we end up paying for it in the end. And you can't get around that. And you've worked hard, and you want to keep a job, right?
Of course. I mean, that's what I've been doing. I talk all the time about what it's like being a working class woman. But the reality is we're already paying for Medicare. We just don't have access to it. The system was always intended to be a single-payer universal system. This was always its intention. All we're doing is we're trying to push to fulfill that intention. And when we talk about paying for things, no one asked where we're going to get the multiple trillions of dollars spent in Iraq. No one's asking where we're going to get the billions of dollars to pay for the parade that's coming out.
That's a debate we can have also. Why do you believe that the government can do a better job of taking care of people than people can actually do on their own?
Because that's the point of government. It's to empower people to be able to self-determine. The point of government is to be able to make sure that people can choose their own fate and choose their own future without having to worry if they can go to the doctor. It's about the government stepping in to care for the most basic needs of people, for the sick, for the people that need education, for the cities that need infrastructure.
That's all good, but again, it all comes with a price tag. And you just talked about health care, and I don't know about that figure, but you know, free college. That's not cheap, and that money's got to come from somewhere also. Do you think, I know you're inspired by Bernie Sanders. Do you think the Democratic Party had it in for Bernie Sanders in 2016?
I think it's very, very possible that they might have. I don't want to speak to a whole lot of speculation because I'm not super into the inner circles in the Democratic Party, but from an outsider's perspective, prima facie, it's what it looks like. It looks like they were trying to shoehorn him out of the entire election, and they were trying to keep him out of the race.
Based on your values.
So redirect quickly because I just got schooled.
Prima facie, she threw in a legal term. I like that.
Wow.
That was good. God, if he isn't just every conservative talking point, but what's it going to cost? But how are we going to pay for that? Oh my God.
And anytime she'd bring up, well, we'll talk about the military later, of course. Don't bring that up now. Military is sacred. Yeah. Murdering people, we always have the money to murder people. Jesus talked about the military.
I thought she did a great job. That was on par with Alex against Joe Crowley, and I just wish I would love to see her debating her opponent.
Absolutely.
In similar passion, but I doubt we will.
No. Thank you, thank you, Schulte. Corey Bush, Missouri for Congress.
I tried to get Corey on We the People so many times, and I just never heard back from her. I wish I could add her to our...
she's getting big push by the big folks, and she's probably getting TYT coverage, and that's cool. I mean, we don't focus as much on that anymore because we really don't do a lot to boost those national folks, you know.
So back to Washington. So that's Sarah. So that'll be a really exciting thing to watch. Are we going to do a return on Tuesday night? I don't know.
For Washington, Oz asked. I mean, we can if you want. I'd like somebody from Washington to be involved. Wouldn't that be great? Anybody in the Washington crew want to actually be on for the Washington primary and talk about it?
We miss you.
Yeah, it would be nice to hear from you guys. I know you're all busy and stuff. Oz is working on a studio, and Brian's out there. I saw he's been posting pictures and stuff. So I'd like to do it. Real quick, I wanted to say thank you to Rebel HQ. You know, the home of the rebellion, or whatever he says.
The only people interviewing progressives.
Regardless of what I think of Cenk Uygur on a personal level, he's interviewing a lot of progressives, and he's doing a good job at it, as good as Cenk can do. And he interviewed Sarah Smith the other day. No, it wasn't just Sarah. It was Tamborine Borelli. That's what I want to say. He did a good interview with Tamborine Borelli, talking about the fact that the Democratic Party basically said, fuck you. And they're just not, it's, you know, this, I just want to remind everybody, this is what happens when you take over a party. They go kicking and screaming. And they're kicking and screaming right now. And it's really annoying. It's like dragging that out of control 5-year-old out of the room. Just come on with me right now. Get out of here. You will never go to dinner with me again. Right? I mean, that's what the Democratic Party is right now. But it's a bunch of old, grumpy, greedy people. And we're dragging their ass out of there. Right? And so that's what this is going to be. Yeah. So thank you, Cenk.
Dorothy is going to be, speaking of Cenk, Dorothy is going to be on TYT.
Yay.
If she hasn't already been. I did a quick search right before we came on because I just heard that. but they said she's been on before.
Okay.
But I think her campaign just posted a day or two ago that she's going to be on Jimmy Dore and the Young Turks this week, and I'm assuming prior to Tuesday. So if you're not subscribed to them, keep your eye out for that.
That's awesome.
That would be good. And then I had Tambourine Brilli was on.
Right.
Yeah. I love that woman.
Yeah. Oh, she's badass.
She is. It's just a question of support, you know. And they're doing they're trying so hard out there in Washington. They're doing so much with very little, you know. So anyway, want to run the Missouri?
Yeah, and then the next one, Michigan.
I have the video with Angelica Earl, right?
Well, that's Missouri. That's next.
Oh, whoops, sorry. Go for it.
Yeah.
Michigan.
Okay. You were close. Yeah, so we've got Michigan is also on Tuesday night. So that's another thing to watch. We have two We the People alumni, David Benack and Marcia Squire. David, for whatever reason, Ernest, is not on the ballot. I meant to check and see what the issue was. Yeah. Hold on. Let me check my notes. No, I'm sorry. He is. It's Jeff Erdman in Minnesota that's not on the ballot.
Yeah,
sorry. Wrong M state. No, he's on the ballot. Paul Clement, who is also running in that same district, was dropped off for technical reasons or something like that. So he's not in the race anymore. But we've got David and we got Marcia Squire. So David will have in the rundown. He's got a watch party that they are going to be hosting, and then Marcia Squire, who's running for U.S. Senate in Michigan, was just endorsed by Stephen Jaffe.
Oh, great! And she's been just chugging along there.
Yeah. So she's really she's getting some. But then we've got our lone Missouri We the People alum Angelica Earl running also her primary. She's running against Claire McCaskill, you guys. And we've got some video of her talking about breaking up farming monopolies, which is a big issue that's hurting Missouri, and she's got some opinions on that.
She does. If I can get the right frame. There we go.
Everyone, Angelica Earl, running for the Missouri Democratic U.S. Senate nomination. Vote August 7th. Let's talk about monopolies. So we have Monsanto Bayer, who goes into Missouri and has operations. They then sell their seeds to our farmers. Our farmers plant the seeds, which they paid way too much money for in the first place. And then they are told by Monsanto that they are not allowed to use the seeds the next year. They have to buy new seeds, and then Monsanto tries to sue them if they do use the seeds the next year. So then they pay too much for the seeds that they can only use 1 year at a time, and then they have to sell the products later. Well, what happens with that is we have another monopoly that comes in and says, hey, either you sell it to us or you don't sell it at all. So then we have these farmers all over Missouri, all over the country, who are then stuck selling products for way too cheap of an amount of money. So they're buying seeds for too much and they're selling products for too little. Then what happens? They end up on welfare. They end up on food stamps. Nobody needs to live like that. You know whose job it is to make sure these monopolies are broken up? The senators. Our current senator. You know what she's doing instead of breaking up the monopoly? She is accepting money from Monsanto Bayer. That is the definition of corruption. Now, I know the people of Missouri do not want a corrupt senator anymore. I know that they're ready for a change, and so I am running to make that change. Again, my name is Angelica Earl. I'm running for the Missouri Democratic U.S. Senate nomination. And you know what I am? I'm a monopoly buster. Vote August 7th.
I love her.
That was nice.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
That was great. She's a badass.
She is.
So that's what's coming up 7th. So yeah, let's do a watch party and kind of at least check out what's going on in Washington and Michigan and Missouri and elsewhere. But those are our big ones.
All right. Works for me. What is this? Sorry, I got all these videos loaded now. I don't know what the hell this one is.
Did you want to talk about last week on UHM? UHM?
Bill Maher. I don't know why Bill Maher in there. I'm going to watch him. I can't play Bill Maher. Hey.
That's an old one. You've got Jeff Beals in there, so we don't have a new card. What was on Progressive Oregon last Sunday.
I don't know, but I want to say hi to all 39 of you. There were 40 earlier. Hey, everybody.
Wow.
Nice to have you here. Thank you. So many people I haven't said hello to. Good morning. Hey, Jilly Love. How are you? Jeffrey Pearson. Brom. Nice to see you. Stock Post. Hi. All right. So we just got to, yeah, what are we going to, what did you say? Talk about,
Well, the shows last week, your 2020 on.
Oh, yeah. I've got some slides to look at for that. Let's look at some slides. So the Progressive Oregon show, was there a Progressive Oregon show? I mean, there was one a couple weeks ago, but I think, I don't know. It's, let me just tell you.
We run such a freaking tight ship here.
You got to understand. I told everybody a couple weeks ago, this was harvest. Okay. I have a farm. I have fruit to harvest, a lot of fruit to harvest. Either that or it just goes to waste. And, there's no point there. So I have to stop. And so I've been like totally disconnected from what's going on. And I've been really buried in the data research that we're doing with the Strategy 2020 and mapping the money. And I'm very excited about that stuff. And I am going to talk about that now because that is one of the things that I want to talk about was mapping the money. But as far as like remembering things from week to week, that's just not happening anymore. Where did I put that stuff? And then you can talk about, we do have a We the People coming up that I had the wrong date on. That was totally my fault as well.
Yes, we have 2 We the Peoples coming up.
And we'll get to those. Just if you didn't see the Oregon 2020 planning, I just want to, there's a lot more people that watch this show. So I just want to, I hope that you take this information, and anybody that wants to help do the data research, I have these processes worked out. By the way, this is all statistical math and formulas, and so I'm using that math degree again. It's really fascinating to track the money and see where it affects the votes, meaning you can look at the record for the Democrats and our one Republican U.S. House representative. We have 5 House representatives for Oregon, U.S. representatives, and you can see their votes. Like that's normal. Greg Walden is a Republican, and he's a red line of votes. Those are all yays because it's all Trump agenda, and the Greens are all nays because that's how Democrats should be voting on the Trump agenda, right? But then we get into weird ones like this. Some of these are valid. Occasionally, Greg Walden votes for something that the Democrats agree with, or something that's bipartisan, like protecting salmon. Everybody was like, sure, let's protect the salmon. But then there's other votes in here that aren't like that. Like the BRIC Act, which you can't see on that slide. But before we get to that, take a look at spending by sector. I just want to show you this. This is the amount of money. And this is only in the current cycle. This is how much money is being spent on our House reps. Kurt Schrader is rep for CD5, and he is a Democrat, but he might as well be a Republican. He votes like Joe Manchin, and he is the second richest House rep in Oregon. Greg Walden, the Republican, is the richest. He's almost got $4 million sitting there just for this cycle. And then you can see what everybody else has there. There's Pete DeFazio, Earl Blumenauer, Suzanne Bonamici. They're kind of in there. They all throw votes. Earl is about the safest one there is. Right? Earl's been in there since 1996. Pete DeFazio's been in there since 1987. And Pete looks okay until you start looking at some of Pete's votes. The key to this, with understanding how the Democrats play us, how corporate Democrats play us, is that it only takes a few of them to vote with the Republicans on a national level to pass their agenda. So if it's Pete in Oregon and somebody else over here in Virginia and somebody else over there in Wyoming, and all we need is like 6 or 10 votes, then the damage gets spread out across the whole Democratic Party. And it's a wash. Nobody asked Pete DeFazio why he voted with the Republican Party against all the Democrats, except for a few, so that this would pass on the BRIC Act of 2017, until you start tracing his money. Here's the BRIC Act vote. All right. And we can see here that even Kurt voted with the environment Basically, the choice is to vote for the environment and fine businesses, start enforcing the laws with regard to emissions controls for businesses that make bricks, all right, or deal with bricks. And then you have Pete DeFazio, who's a Democrat. Pete's a Democrat. He normally votes with the Democrats. He's all about why would Pete vote with the Republicans on the BRIC Act of all things, with just a few other Democrats to make it pass? Well, that has something directly to do where Pete gets his money from. Pete gets the third largest chunk of his money in top industries comes from building materials and equipment. Brick makers. It's a pretty easy tie-in. You know, you don't have to do a lot of rocket science to figure this out. You look at this. What is Pete's third largest sector? Construction. Who uses a lot of fucking bricks? Construction. Who cares about the BRIC Act? People who invested a shit ton of money in Pete. What is Pete the chair of? Transportation and infrastructure. Go figure. What does Pete take the most money in? Transportation and infrastructure. Go figure. Where does Pete dump the vote in order to pass legislation in favor of businesses in infrastructure and transportation? Things like the BRIC Act. And this is how Democrats, corporate Democrats, throw the vote. Pete doesn't have to throw a bunch of votes. Pete looks like a great Democrat. I have his fucking sign in my yard. And then I see shit like this. And every one of them does this. Every single one of them. Except for Earl. And I'm talking I haven't found anything on Earl yet, but I'm sure Earl throws for somebody. They all do. It's just a question of who and how many. Now, Kurt Schrader throws a lot. He's just like, I don't care. I'm voting Republican. They're feeding me money. And actually, Kurt gets the majority of his money from, well, a large chunk of Kurt's money. Quarter of it. See that blue slice there? Let me bring that in closer. That blue slice says no labels. It's not actually no labels as a designation by the no secrets or open secrets. That's a pack. No labels is a pack. And this is who they've donated to in this cycle. Kurt and Greg. And they've actually given Kurt more money. They'll probably give a lot of people a lot more money than this. No labels pack makes you think that they're about change, but what they really are is a bunch of centrists. They care about corporate money because their leadership includes people like Susan Collins and Joe Manchin, one of our favorite pharma bros. No Labels is interested in a DACA solution and $1.6 billion for physical barrier materials. That's like a wall. See how centrism really doesn't accomplish anything there? That's not good. Kurt, all his money really is pharmaceuticals, healthcare. Then you got the forest industry, insurance, oil and gas. Kurt doesn't care where his money comes from. And Kurt votes with his money, right? That's what we see here. I'm doing this I have to do it for all of the Oregon. There's the senators. That's not going to be hard. There's two. Merkley seems decent, but you know he takes money, right? I'm interviewing Jamie McLeod Skinner, who's running against Greg Walden, and that's on the 13th, right, Laura?
Yes. Not this Monday, the next Monday after that.
Not the 8th, like it says right now, but yeah. So I will be interviewing her. She takes money too, but she takes different money, right? There's what looks to be nicer pockets of money, public sector union money, right? Or local business or individual contributions versus, Nike, right? Although she's taken money from corps too, so.
And she's the one who won the primary against Jim McCrary.
Yeah.
And I've forgotten the other guy.
Eric. Eric.
How quickly
Shit.
we forget.
I know. There's too many names.
Yeah.
Eric Burnett.
There you go.
Both more progressive, but she popped up out of nowhere because she had money. Really. Yeah. She was backed by Emily's List.
But we interviewed her primary night briefly and invited her to come back, and we've been kind of back and forthing ever since. So
yeah,
she's So she's already won her primary. So this isn't, we don't have a primary to prep her for.
Right.
So it's kind of just getting, okay, what's her strategy going into the general?
And that's going to be that's a point to make here. And actually, I don't think Emily's list did endorse her. So I got to look at that. There's Emily's list has endorsed some of these ladies, but not all. This is the problem we're faced with. She's better than Greg Walden. Okay. That's not saying much. But she's better than Greg Walden.
Yeah.
Okay. She is more progressive than he is. She is interested in a solution for healthcare, but her solution seems like the corporate Democrat solution.
Accessible
and affordable. And she won't use the word Medicare. She'll use the word healthcare. My goal isn't to have I want to have her on. We want to get to know her. I want her to defeat Greg Walden, but I also want her to understand that we want Medicare for all, and her corporate options are not going to be our favorite choice if she gets elected, and we're going to be on her ass about it because that's our job, right? And that's what we have to shift in this. It's not, oh, well, we lost because the person that got in there isn't exactly what I wanted. It's, well, I'm going to force them to do what I want. We are going to do that, or we're going to elect somebody else next time. That's how this goes. So I'm hoping to work with Jamie because I want her to do better than Walden. I don't expect her to do worse than Walden, but I also want her to, actually push some values. And we know that the Democratic, we've seen this all through social media, everybody, that the Democratic Party is telling their corporate candidates, go along with the Medicare and then just do what we say afterwards. That is happening. So we really don't know who to trust on that. We really don't. Just to bring that up. Yes.
I want to apologize for Kurt Schrader because I think he has German roots. So
everybody thinks he's an asshole. So to mind, that's what Larry said.
It's a typical German name, so that's why.
Is it? Yes, it is. Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know where Metalhead is. Where's Eddie?
Metalhead dropped out of Slack and everywhere very abruptly a few weeks ago.
Oh wow!
So I have not seen him. I just realized that he'd be right in on this conversation. So
what else we got? Is that it?
I think that's kind of it. Did you want to talk about?
I had a couple other things.
What about your latest Robert's Rules of Orders shows?
Oh, the last one. Look, I don't have the slides for it, but the last one was phenomenal. We had Carrie Capon on, and she's another parliamentarian, and we did scenarios. We actually covered what you would do in the Roberta's Rules scenario if you could actually get them to, pay attention instead of just walk away like they did and run an Obama video. But in your meetings, your local Democratic meetings, whatever political organization it is, they're going to be using some version of Robert's Rules, or they should be using some version of Robert's Rules. And these scenarios are how you take control. And what you should watch is at the very beginning, we ran a video clip from Real Clear Politics of this happening in a judiciary meeting with the chair, Bob Goldlatt, or Goldlate, whatever his name is. Anyway, he's a Republican, and he was an asshole, and he was trying to get away with breaking parliamentary rules. Just basically, I'm going to do this because I have a gavel and fuck you. And it was amazing watching the parliamentarians just like, no, point of order. And it was like 4 or 5 basic procedures that basically shut him down and got, you can't do that. Nope, you can't do that. And that's what we have to do at these meetings. We have to remind the chair that they're just a member of the assembly and they are not a king or a queen or a fucking monarch, right? As soon as you give those people power, it's like, oh, I've got a gavel. I'm going to be a dick. And it's not.
Do a Roberta.
Yeah. And it's not everybody. It's just the people that understand that you are attempting to change things within the party and they don't want that. We have to be aggressive about it. So watch that. The one that's coming up is about secondary motions, which is like, oh boy, that sounds exciting. But Larry says there's actually some stuff in there that's cool, so you should watch it or watch it later. That'll be Sunday. Yes, Sunday at noon. No, 1, whenever we do that show. Sunday at 1. I don't remember. I made you laugh good, Schultze.
Oh, this is interesting. ECO says the Secretary, the Supreme Court, I'm sorry, unanimously decided to allow the children's climate change suit to proceed, and that will be in Eugene, Oregon.
That's awesome.
Kind of near you.
Yeah.
I love Eugene.
45 in team has had some serious setbacks the last few days. There's the climate thing, and there's the DACA thing. Just yesterday, the court said you need to restore all that shit. Everything you did was unconstitutional. Fuck you. And the court also said, and you can't ask the ACLU to find the children's parents. You have to find the children's parents, U.S. government, you shameful piece of shit that you are. So...
in so many words.
Yeah. I wish the judge, from what I read, the judge is pissed. Like, they had a deadline. They didn't meet the deadline. They still haven't met the deadline. It's like... I don't know. You can build warships. You want to make a space force, and you can't fucking connect parents with their kids. Really? Fuck you, assholes. You know you can do it. Asking the ACLU to do it. That's the most shameful. To me, that's like our fucking government just asked a nonprofit to do something they fucked up. You know. I hope heads roll. I know the Pope just came out with the, killing people is bad. Really? Do you remember the Crusades, motherfucker? I really want to see CEOs and the people at the top heads on spikes. We hung and shot the Nazis, and I don't see a restorative justice solution for CEOs that have raped this planet for their greed. When you brought about the 6th grade extinction, yeah, I do think you deserve to die. I absolutely fucking do think you deserve to die, and I wouldn't. If somebody said, would you pull the trigger? Yes. Absolutely. You put Rex Tillerson in front of me and give me a weapon, he's done. Some people need to lose their lives for destroying a planet. Don't you think? Don't you think? I mean, come on. That's my view. I just wanted to get that out. It's not the Bernie view. It's not the peaceful view. It's not the Buddhist view. But I want to see some people pay. We got to get there. Anyway, not the point. I only had a few other things. Funny, if you have not heard of these folks, you will soon. I'm going to be talking with them. I'm going to do a little show on cannabis. There's a couple of things going on with cannabis. Yerba Buena makes amazing cannabis, and if you're lucky enough to be in Oregon, you should find their products because it's really amazing. What I like about them is that they have a business culture and a work culture that is really about the people and the planet and keeping things green. And no, that is not all across the cannabis industry in Oregon, right? They really run things differently. I
like their logo.
I like that. Cool. Do I? I've eaten dog shite before on accident, I think.
Oh, we got it. We have a troll.
Hi, troll.
Right.
This is I love this. Somebody was really offended by this. And this cracked me up so bad. This is in Spencer's, and Spencer's has been a gag gift. If you guys don't know, Spencer's is an adult store, not like an adult toy store, just an adult store. It's not really a kid's store. So the humor is supposed to be adult humor, okay? And some adult was in there going, "This is horrible," and there was other ones like of kids pretending to do sacrifice or worship Satan, and what this is an attempt at a retro shirt, but they've got the eras wrong here. Okay. That style and look is actually late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
The Devil's music really wasn't around until, or at least being called out as such, until the 80s, my generation. All right. And that was when the Parents Against Rock Music and was it Tipper Gore, and I was a Catholic boy who had my stack of albums, and I was listening to the Devil's music, and my parents actually took me to the Catholic church and put me in a room with this dude and told all the parents, your children are going to burn in hell. And then they would have the kids come up and show their albums. And of course the parents had never really looked at these albums, right? The parents are like, just here's $5, go get an album, shut up. And here's Van Halen's Running with the Devil cover, here's Iron Maiden's Eddie cover, Peace of Mind. And
Black Sabbath was the first one that really was getting people's attention with Ozzy, and they took that all the way to the bank.
Yeah, but it got way, Suicide Solution, Ozzy and stuff, but it really got way worse. And they tried to ban it. They tried to ban this music. Right? They put explicit labels on it. That was
Tipper's thing, right?
Yeah. And so I just wanted to point out that it was in the 80s we listened to the Devil's music, and we did not dress that way, and our record players looked a fuckload better because that's all 60s shit. All right?
Yeah.
Let's
There's
just...
boom boxes. There should be a boom box.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
A big one with stickers all over it.
But that, that's close. The point actually wasn't the shirt. The point was that somebody was really appalled. I'm like, and the first comment was like, it's an adult store. People don't send their 10-year-olds in there and go buy a toy, Jimmy. Go find yourself a fuzzy dildo. I mean, it's like fucking.
Those little gummy things look tasty.
Nice. And one other thing that's actually cool, I thought this was I thought this was a gun. Take a look at this real quick. What do you see?
A gun.
It's not a gun. Look at it.
A camera?
That's a camera. That's a whole camera setup. That's a tripod and a couple zoom lenses. The camera's in the middle and some other pieces to the camera, but it's made to look like an AR-15.
Oh, it's got a Nikon. Nikon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at the bottom, this is Patrick Aaron Johnson, and the guy says, no one should be able to buy this. And I love that, because if you think about it, that weapon is, that's a powerful weapon. And that's why we do a media network. Right? Is to be the spreading of information, the capturing of truth with a camera, that's powerful. Right? And I just love that. I thought that was a great point. We've been saying this for years, that it is a war of information. We're losing that war currently in many places. I think we're losing that war with climate change in the United States. I think we're losing that war with government in many ways. And that's why we fight this battle, right? That's why we fight this battle. I think I'm out of slides. Did I miss anything we had to talk about?
Nope, I don't think so.
I don't see any. No.
Anything coming up? Is there a show tomorrow? You already mentioned that, I think.
There is a show tomorrow. I did create I'm sorry. There is I remember now. I created a slide. There's a Progressive Oregon show tomorrow at 10 a.m. and we're talking about the third quarter Oregon Democratic Party SCC meeting, which is going to be loaded with parliamentary fireworks, because this is where Larry and a bunch of parliamentarians are going to be challenging a lot of BS that's going down. And so Larry is going to cover what's going on there. He's going to talk about what battles are being fought and what's going to happen, what could happen. And they're going to record footage at the meeting, and then we're going to do a show and play the events and have Carrie and Larry do the play-by-play. Oh, here's where we did a point of order, and here's where we kicked the chair out, and so
parliamentarian fireworks.
Yes.
I like that. No throwing chairs, though. No throwing chairs.
No, we're not going to throw the chair.
Part of the rules of order.
Although some would like to throw the chair, we're not going to do that. We're just going to. In the film industry, you shoot a film. That's true.
That's true. Good point.
That is true. It sure did look like. I know. It looked like a gun. Yeah. But think about, when I think about that, I think about the Vietnam War. Because that was really where the camera and the news and a lot of the older news folks that used to have integrity in news when it was that way got their fame from the Vietnam War. People like Dan Rather. Right.
Seymour Hersh.
There's a bunch of them just died recently. Morley Saber. If you go back and watch some Safer, thank you. If you go watch some of that old footage, that was where we actually had news people in the jungle with soldiers, and they weren't
journalists. Yeah, journalism.
They weren't reporting what it was quite a difference, and you know this more vividly than I do. Quite a difference from what we saw reported in CNN with the Gulf War.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Like the absolute crickets about what happened in Yemen yesterday.
Right.
Right.
Nobody's talking about that.
Hundreds of people killed. Horrible destruction. Nope. Crickets.
That's on us.
No. Walter Cronkite.
Yes. Walter Cronkite.
Yeah, that was the. I still have got a picture of him behind me over there.
Wow.
Yeah, that was new. I mean, when news was news, and the media and politicians feared the media for finding out what they were doing, and how convenient now that the media is all owned by politicians and vice versa. And
right.
the coordinated efforts on some of these stories that are coming out, like all the silly stuff about Q and 60 articles yesterday, all basically saying the same thing. Well, okay, that's the thing that you need to be looking behind. Now it's like when they say look over there, then you look over there because it's you're being diverted, and that's just crazy.
It is. It absolutely is. Yes, thank you for calling out all the names. I couldn't remember everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, you want me to stay on longer for the Nazi rally? I don't want to cover that. I just don't. I don't want to give it anything.
No.
If things get bad and there's live footage, we'll talk about it another time, but I don't. If you can go up there, be safe. I expect, hopefully it won't get violent, but I'm sure something's going to happen.
We can talk about it next Saturday.
Yeah.
But it'll probably be old news by then.
That's Russia? You want to talk about Russia? No, Russia.
No, God damn it.
No. Thank you all for being here. We will, we'll see you tomorrow.
Do we have a song to go out?
We do.
Okay.
We do. It's a very unique song. So, some of you know that I was briefly in a metal band in the 80s and early 90s, and we were called Ricochet, and we did one actual live gig at an actual establishment, and other than that, we played beer parties. It's just beer parties.
So this is your band?
This is somebody. I don't know. We don't know where this came from. I was somebody. I'm still friends on Facebook with most of the original band members, and they posted this. Somebody put this demo of our song "Renegades," worst song they could have picked. It's basically pop metal. The worst song they could have picked on YouTube. I posted, and I'm like, how did you? It's only on like 5 cassette tapes. There's only like 5 or 10 cassette tapes that even have this shit on there. So somebody put it on. It must have been the original guy who had the studio, because we recorded this in some dude's basement in Colorado. Anyway, you're going to hear the song, and you're going to hear what a choir boy trying to sing metal sounds like for the first time.
This is you singing and playing?
No, I don't play. At this point, I didn't even play guitar. I played acoustic guitar for fun, but this is just me singing. And the rest of the band is Mike. Oh, geez, I don't remember. Phil, Mike, and...
Is this video or is this just audio?
It's just audio. There's no video. Fucking...
Sorry.
Video. Oh my God, if we had it would be horrible. No.
You've got to have a still photo, I bet.
There are a couple still photos on my Facebook, if they're public, and there's actually one, I think, in the basement of this. And let me tell you, having never ever recorded anything and been to a studio or anything like this, we all scraped our money together, and I probably still owe Chris like $250 for this back then. But I didn't understand, how things were going to go. And vocals got recorded last. And Lori, my partner here today, we were boyfriend, girlfriend at the time. And we showed up in the morning at the studio at this dude's house with our 5th of Jose Cuervo. And we were done with that bottle before I ever got in there to sing. So
okay.
I had no idea we were going to go last. That's it. So I'm just using that as with knowing that, it's really not that bad. I'm just going to say that. Okay. So anyway,
all right.
Thank you all for being here.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
See you Tuesday night for election stuff. We'll do something.
Yes.
We'll come in at least.
We will do something.
The pain or the joy and all in between.
Absolutely will. Be safe, please. It's getting scary out there. And let us know if you need help, because that's how that's what we have to do. So thank you all. Here you go. Renegades by Ricochet, 1990.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.